Previously, in the dungeon of the Mad Mage, amidst the regal halls of the ancient temple complex of Obsidia, the party was finishing up a brief battle with an outpost of House Avrindar. They had successfully managed to prevent the outpost from retreating for reinforcements, and in the process, they gained a new ally, Quailan Hland, an elite warrior of House Avrindar that the party had saved from the Sethian scourges in the Slither Swamp. Quailan had apparently been instrumental in Vikadara evading the clutches of House Avrindar, and now that the party was here, the warrior saw an opportunity to rescue Dirzana Freth and extricate himself from a house that actively punished him for remaining loyal. The party was not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, and Quailan began to tell them everything he knew about the forces they would be walking into. Dirzana and Arachnophane were being kept nearby, but the two were in the clutches of Kareth Ikorza, Blonwelv's chief inquisitor. To complicate matters, the location they were at was defended by an entire platoon of Drow warriors, led by one of Avrindar's house captains, Dinrith Avrindar. While this outpost was separated from the main body of Avrindar territory, preventing the Drow from calling for reinforcements would be of utmost importance. Quailan warned the party that not only could the Drow flee and call for aid, but their giant spiders also had a network of webs that could be used to send for aid. While the party dissected this information and began to form a plan, Bones and Mossy explored eastward, verifying there were no enemies awaiting them and validating that there was a portal of the Mad Mage that led to Madgoth's castle. Upon the two returning, the party finalized their plan. Quailan and Zaran would be able to approach the Drow hold without issue. Meanwhile, Ezrah would make two members of the party invisible by twin-casting a greater invisibility spell, while the third drank a potion of greater invisibility. The three would approach with Mossy underfoot, while Ezrah remained hidden behind. Zaran would use one of his flashbangs to blind as many of the enemies as he could, and then the party would decimate the foes, preventing them from fleeing to the south and keeping the spiders from signaling for reinforcements. Hopefully, by doing this, they would buy themselves the time to defeat Dinrith's forces and then engage Kareth and rescue the captives without having to worry about the bulk of House Avrindar coming after them. Satisfied with their plan, the party made their way south through a temple to the Drow god of assassins Verun. And then it was time. They followed through with their plan, coming upon the shouting, distracted mass that was Dinrith's platoon of Drow warriors. The house captain was in the midst of a training, really brutally humiliating her warriors, which, fortunately for the party, meant many of them were already injured. They approached without issue. But Dinrith was not a house captain for nothing, and she was apparently far more aware than her soldiers. As Zaran flicked his wrist, tossing his flashbang toward the center of the chamber, Dinrith reacted, her whip cracking outward, catching the grenade before it reached its target. The unexpected flash of light still caught many of the Drow unawares, but unfortunately its close proximity also took Bones by surprise, and just like that, the battle was on. Even though their plan hadn't gone off perfectly, the Drow and spiders were still surprised by their arrival. This, combined with the fact that many of the party were affected with greater invisibility, meant that the following moments were a slaughter. In almost an instant, several Drow and one of the spiders lay dead. But, as the Drow began to react, things became complicated. Dinrith called out orders and fled northward towards the direction of Kareth Ikorza. Several of the Drow rushed south, prompting Ashes, Zaran, and Quailan to begin to struggle over control of the southern egress. Meanwhile, two of the spiders began to attack Matashtai as they could apparently see the invisible monk, while a third began to signal for aid. Bones moved to silence that spider, and that is where we find ourselves, embroiled in a battle not necessarily for survival, but in order to prevent reinforcements from being called, and in order to rescue Dirzana and Arachnophane. Would the party be successful? And would it be worth it at the end?
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.